Okay, so um, I recorded for 1 hour and I just realized that I wasn't recording anything. So, Free Clan Collection 5 is coming to English version soon. Since it's been released for a while now in Japan, I've got the opportunity to try it out for a while now in CFA, and the results are amazing. I'm in love with the new Triple R, especially for the Mega Colony one. But the unit that I'm excited the most is Mega Colony! Yeah, Giraffa has a new reverse unit. It's called Evil Armor Sovereign Uragiraffa Reverse. So let's just start on a deck list. At grade 3, we play 4 Evil Armor General Giraffa. Fact: when this unit attack at Vanguard, you can counter plus swap, put a rear card into your soul, and your opponent chooses 2 cards from their hand and call them to R as rest, and you paralyze them. The auto ability cannot activate and it cannot stand during the next stand phase. So essentially you control plus 1 and just suck a rear card into your soul, and it is essentially reducing the number of cards they have in their hands. Yeah, the point of this deck is like to kill the enemy as fast as possible, and reducing the number of hand they have is really crucial, and it's part of the strategy of this deck. And second effect, during your turn, this unit gets plus 5000 for each card with Giraffa and its card name in your soul. If you have 2 or more cards with different card names, your opponent Vanguard is 3 or greater, the original critical of this unit becomes 2. Not only this card can minus the opponent hand, this card can essentially get plus 1 crit. And if you don't have enough Giraffa with different names in your soul, you can just use this card effect to suck your Giraffas. Very good card. But next, we're going to play this, the new card. Evil Armor Sovereign Uragiraffa Reverse. I only played out 3 because most of the time you don't really need 4. Let me read you the fact. Vanguard Circle. Once per turn. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, counter plus 1, and your opponent chooses 1 or more cards from their hand and call them to rear guard circle as rest. The auto abilities from your opponent card does not activate, but they can still stand during the stand phase. Remember that. If the number of cards your opponent call is less than the number of grade 3 cards with Giraffa in its card name in your soul, you can lock one of your rear guard and stand this unit, and this card can attack again. Second effect, when your opponent rear guard is placed during your turn, lock one of your rear guard and all of your front row unit get plus 15,000 until the end of turn. So essentially this is like a lock 2 card and your opponent reduce their hand by 1 or more, and it plus the front row by 15k. But the thing is, you don't really reduce your opponent hand that much because your opponent can just chooses to put 1 card instead of like 2 or 3 or the number of grade 3 cards with Giraffa in your soul. But if they only put 1, you can just restand and attack again, and you essentially have like 4 drive checks. It's really great. But I only played at 3 because you don't really need that much of it. Especially I need to make space for other combo cards because I have some defensive options as well. So the next one is Unrivaled Blade Rogue Cyclomatooth. Vanguard Circle or Rear Guard Circle. When it attacks a Vanguard, you can counter plus 1, soul plus 1. This unit get plus 10,000 till the end of turn, and then put the top card of your opponent deck into the drop zone. And if it is crit 1 or greater, this unit gets plus 1 crit until the end of turn. So not only this card can get plus crit and plus 10k, combined with the Giraffas, it's going to be scary, right? Having your hand being cut by Giraffas, and then Cyclomatooth is going to attack you with plus 10k or plus 25k if you have Giraffa Reverse, and 4 drive check and 1 crit. This card is essentially going to be the end of them. You can just play Intrude Scissors, but I have more success with Cyclomatooth instead of Intrude Scissors because of the crit, mostly. And moving on to the grid 2, we play 4 Elite Mutant Giraffa Auto Vanguard or Rear Guard. When this unit attack, you can counter plus 1, this unit get plus 5,000 until the end of turn for each of your opponent rear guards at rest, and if your opponent has 1 or less rear guard at stand, you draw a card. Essentially, you can just plus this unit attack by so much and draw a card. But the problem is, this card effect can only be done once per turn, so then it's quite a problem. But at least this card deals so much damage really quickly, and I think it is balanced when it is once per turn, because when it is like not once per turn, this is going to be so broken because you usually draw one. So don't bitch too much about it. And the second effect is all your rear guard in the same column this unit can intercept or move to other R. That is situational, but most of the time it's really good. Especially when you play the other card, Vulgar Mutant Stamping Rat. When this unit is placed on Vanguard or Rear Guard, you can control +1, choose one of your opponent Rear Guard without any cradle markers and put a clear marker into it. And if you did not choose, you can draw one. So, why are you playing cradle markers? Weren't there like Mega Colony Battler S, the new one that can mill the opponent hand, but they draw again? It's basically just a milling card and can revive itself by discarding a card. But thing is, when you play Stamping Rat and you cradle marker one of your opponent in the front row and in front of Elite Mutant Giraffa, that unit is going to be cradle marked and cannot be moved. It stuns a lot of things, especially when you're fighting like an Aqua Force. That thing is going to be so sad sitting there with cradle marker on it. And during your turn, if your opponent has already got with cradle marker, this unit gets plus 6,000. And if your opponent just decided to, oh, when I need to put my card in the field without my consent because of Giraffa, I can just put it on top of the one with the cradle marker because it is stunned by crit to Giraffa and it is cradle marker. I cannot use it, and you essentially get one search out of it, and it's really good. You play this at 4. Next, we're going to play 2 Spear Attack Mutant Megalararalarlalrlalancer. Megalararalarlalcer. Whoever named this card really hates me. We play this card because when it attacks a Vanguard, this unit gets plus 2,000 for each your opponent rests rear guard. It's basically a mini crit to Giraffa. But then you put a rear guard into your soul and your opponent cannot intercept until the end of turn. It is not that much important because not that much unit really emphasis on intercepting on fee premium. Usually it's on like Overdress. So it is not that good, but the more important thing about this card is putting a rear guard into the soul. So for example, you are forced to ride Uragiraffa first and you don't have that much grade 3 Giraffa in your soul. You can use this card to just suck the Giraffas into the soul. And it is during the battle phase too, so it can increase the pressure. So if you don't really want this card, you can replace it into Intrude Scissors, but then again, Intrude Scissors is really player preferential. Because when I was playing it, it never run. I don't know, that card really hates me. But yeah, it's up to you. But I choose this card instead because most of the time I'm going to get stuck on grid too. Because for some freaking reason my draw is really bad. And I don't want to go full Morikawa on this. Next, for grade 1, we play 4 Pupa Mutant Giraffa. When this unit is placed on V, you can discard a normal unit on your hands and search one Giraffa equal to the crit that you discard for the cost. Refill it and put it in your hand. This card is really good when you draw it on your first starting hand, but when you're not, well, it has other effect. When this card is placed on R, you can Soul Blast 2 and draw a card, but this cost is reduced by Soul Blast 1 for each of your opponent rear guard rest at the same column in this unit. For example, you put this card in front of 2 resting rear guard and you essentially just draw one for free. I put it on 4 because I really want this to be in my first starting hand. The second one, we're going to play Brawny Jerk. This card is very good on Giraffas. This card loves Giraffa so much. This card worships Giraffas. So, Brawny Jerk, when placed, you Soul Blast 1. When placed on rear guard circle, you Soul Blast 1. And this unit gets plus 6,000 until the end of turn. Put the top of your opponent deck into the drop zone, and if it's crit 1 or greater, you Soul Charge 1. It's a mill thing. It's not that good. It increases the attack power by 6,000, but the more important thing is the second effect. When it puts a unit that attacks a crit 3 or greater Vanguard, discard a card from your hand and your opponent chooses a card from his or her hand and discard it. This card can reduce the number of hand the opponent have way further. Especially when you're playing Giraffas and the best thing of this is it is not once per turn. Really freaking scary. The problem is you need to discard a card from your hand, but with Uragiraffa, you essentially just drive check 4, so it's not that much. So don't be too greedy about it. It's a really good card, so I play that far. So next, we play 3 Brilliant Blister. This is a defensive card, so you don't really need that much of it, but this is a really good defensive card. People are saying that this card is situational, but I find it very helpful most of the time. So, effect. Back row R. At the end of the turn, if your opponent doesn't have any stand rear guards, you may return this unit to your hand, and if you return it and your hand has 6 or less cards, you can soul plus 1 and draw a card. So basically this card can put on pressure on the second turn on push for more damage in earlier turns, and essentially this card can help your hand stay healthy because it can help you draw. But the more important effect is the second effect. When this unit is put on guard circle, if your opponent Vanguard is rest, you can soul plus 1 and discard a card from your hand, choose one of your open rear cards and rest it, and that unit cannot stand until the end of the turn. So essentially, this card can paralyze an annoying opponent. It works really well against like combo cards like Ripple. Well, at least you can slow down your death against Ripple, but yeah, it cannot stand again. Most of the time when opponent Vanguard attacks, is going to be like the first attack or the second attack, so they're gonna leave like 1 or more rear guards at stand to do the finisher. If in any case they get like a trigger and you already perfect guarded Vanguard attack, they're going to want to put that trigger boost into the rear guard, so you can essentially just paralyze them. They cannot stand again, so bye bye Ripple. And this, I don't know, Jumanji Unga Bunga Jurassic World thing with plus front and crit on all of their shit. I had a really hard time fighting against that. So this card is really good for your defensive options. And last is your countercharger. I choose Tanya. I know it's called Small Captain Butterfly Officer, but please, have you seen this somewhere before? The fact is, when placed, press this unit, one of your rear card gets plus 10,000. And if you choose, at the end of the turn, put that unit into your soul and countercharge 1. So, with Tanya, you can eventually just like copy sucking ability that Giraffas have and put a bunch of grade 3 Giraffas into your soul without rewriting them again and again. And this card helps with pressure by 10k. You can essentially play high class mode if you wanted to countercharge a little bit more, but you don't really need to do it that much. Because this deck is like a soul blast heavy deck, I prefer Tanya because it can really help with your soul building. So yeah, Tanya is better. Play it on 3. Okay, for the triggers, I play 4 of the Hill Guardians and I play 4 draws. About the draw, I only play 2 Sentinel, the perfect card one, because I have more success with the 2x2 ratio of the Sentinels, because I feel like you don't really need to use that much of perfect cards in a protect deck, especially when you're playing protect 1. So I put it on 2, and I put 2 of the critical Sentinel, the 30k one. It's really good card on a protect deck because you can have like a healthier hand. And you run 8 critical triggers because you want to put a lot of critical pressures into your opponent while they have a hand thinner than my wallet. And finally, it's a starter. I play Worectus because I don't know, the other starter kinda looks bad to me, and I hate spiders, man. I live in Australia. But it's an ant? Anyway, so that is all for this Uragiraffa Reverse deck list. Tell me in the comment down below if you wanted more. I consider myself to specialize in control or combos deck, but I won't call myself exactly a professional player because I don't really have any experience in professional plays. It's more of a casual thing, and you guys probably know more about it. So I hope it can help at least a little bit, and expect some more in the future. Follow my Twitter down below if you want some news. Subscribe and like, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.